Scarlett Davis grew up in a modest red brick house in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The house, though small, was always filled with love and laughter, shared with her mother, Anne, who worked long hours as a supermarket cashier, and her younger sister, Lily, a 9-year-old girl with an infectious smile. In Cedar Rapids, a city surrounded by vast cornfields that stretched as far as the eye could see, opportunities seemed as scarce as rain in a dry summer. However, Scarlett was always a bit different from her peers. Endowed with an insatiable curiosity, she spent hours in front of the family's old computer, which had been a gift from a neighbor after their own computer broke. By the age of 10, Scarlett was already able to disassemble and reassemble the hardware, fascinated by the sound of the keyboard and the logic behind operating systems. Scarlett's knack for technology quickly became known in the neighborhood. She was often called upon to help when someone's Wi-Fi went down, or when a stubborn virus invaded a system. Her room, filled with science books and tech magazines, was her sanctuary, a place where she could lose herself in digital worlds and dream of the future. Mrs. Thompson, a math teacher at Scarlett's school, noticed her exceptional talent and encouraged her to participate in science and technology competitions. It was Mrs. Thompson who guided her through the application process for the state science fair, where Scarlett developed an innovative home automation project aimed at low-income families in her community. During her presentation at the fair, the judges were not only impressed with the technology she developed, but also with her passion and clarity in explaining how it could change people's lives. Among the audience was Dr. Lewis, a professor from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, who saw in Scarlett not just a brilliant mind, but a potential leader in the field of technology. The full scholarship offered by the university came as a beam of light in Scarlett's life. The news arrived on a windy autumn afternoon as Scarlett was helping Lily with her homework. The small house erupted in joy, with Anne and Lily jumping and hugging Scarlett, overwhelmed with pride and hope. Scarlett knew that leaving Cedar Rapids would be a big change. While packing her bags, thoughts of anxiety and excitement mingled. She knew she was about to embark on a journey that could not only transform her life, but also that of her family. On the night before her departure, she sat in front of the computer, staring at the screen that had inspired her for years. The reality of her dream was just beginning. Upon arriving at the university, Scarlett Davis felt as if she had landed on an entirely different planet. The gigantic buildings and classrooms equipped with the latest technology were a stark contrast to the modest high school in Cedar Rapids. Among so many students, each seemed to already possess a vast knowledge and experiences that Scarlett could barely imagine. In the first few days, Scarlett walked through the hallways observing her peers, who talked about their internships at tech companies and projects they had already developed. Many of them had participated in summer programs in big cities, worked in research labs, or developed apps that were already on the market. Scarlett, on the other hand, had her science fair project, and the help she provided to neighbors with computer problems as her major achievements. The classes were an even greater challenge. The pace was fast, and the professors assumed that all students already had a solid foundation in programming and systems. Scarlett struggled to keep up, taking notes frantically, and spending sleepless nights trying to understand the material. Her old laptop, a faithful companion for years, now proved inadequate, crashing and failing to run the software necessary to complete her assignments. On a particularly difficult afternoon, Scarlett was in the library trying to finish a programming project. The lines of code jumbled on her screen, and each compilation attempt was met with more errors. Feeling overwhelmed, she decided to seek out Dr. Harold, the professor of the course, hoping for some guidance, or, at least, an extended deadline to submit the work. Dr. Harold was known for his brilliant intellect, but also for his lack of patience with students who, in his view, didn't put in enough effort. When Scarlett, with hesitation in her voice, explained her difficulties and asked for the extension, the professor's response was cutting. "Well, Miss Davis, perhaps you should reconsider whether this is really the field for you," said Dr. Harold, in a tone that mixed condescension and sarcasm, loud enough for other students around to hear. Technology isn't for everyone, especially not for poor people, and definitely requires more than just a fleeting interest. Dr. Harold's words echoed in Scarlett's mind as she left the office, feeling the weight of judgment and humiliation. Tears of frustration welled up in her eyes as she walked back to the dormitory. For the first time since arriving at the university, she thought about giving up and going back home. In her room, She confided in her roommate, Maria, who was a mechanical engineering student and had become her friend. "I really don't know if I can do this, Maria. Maybe Dr. Harold is right. Maybe I really don't belong here," Scarlett said, struggling to keep her voice steady. Maria, seeing her friend's distress, replied firmly, "Scarlett, you are one of the most determined people I know. Don't let one cruel comment define your journey. We all face hurdles, but that doesn't mean we can't overcome them. You belong here as much as any of us." Inspired by Maria's words, Scarlett dried her tears. She knew the path wouldn't be easy, but she also knew she didn't want to give up without a fight. With renewed determination, she decided to face the challenges, starting by seeking additional help with her studies and perhaps a new laptop that could keep up with her academic needs. Scarlett's journey was just beginning, and she was ready to prove that her place was right there, among the future leaders in technology. Sarah Nguyen, a sophomore in computer science, was sitting in a corner of the library, immersed in her notes, when she overheard a classmate recounting what had happened between Scarlett and Dr. Harold. The daughter of Vietnamese immigrants who had settled in the suburbs of Chicago, Sarah was familiar with the cultural and social barriers that often made adapting to new environments challenging. Her parents had worked tirelessly at multiple jobs to ensure she had educational opportunities they never had. She knew firsthand how challenging it could be to feel like a fish out of water, especially in such a competitive and technical field. After class, Sarah approached Scarlett, who still seemed shaken by the encounter with the professor. With a warm and welcoming smile, Sarah said, "I couldn't help overhearing what happened. I know it might seem scary now, but you're not alone here." Scarlett, still absorbing the unexpected kindness, responded hesitantly, "Thank you, I'm really trying to adapt here." Sensing Scarlett's vulnerability, Sarah decided to offer more than just words of comfort. She had a spare old laptop, a more robust and reliable model that could help Scarlett with her projects. "Hey, I have an extra laptop that I'm not using. It's newer, and should be able to run your programs without any issues. And if you want, I can help you with your studies too." Surprised and touched by Sarah's generosity, Scarlett accepted the offer gratefully. That would be amazing. Honestly, I don't know how to thank you." "No need to thank me," Sarah replied. "We need to support each other. Besides, studying together could be good for both of us." In the days and weeks that followed, Sarah became more than just a classmate to Scarlett. She became a mentor and friend. Together, they spent long hours in the library, with Sarah explaining complex programming concepts and Scarlett sharing her knack for solving logical problems. Their friendship grew, founded on solidarity and mutual support. Encouraged by Sarah and armed with better tools for her studies, Scarlett began to feel more confident. She not only wanted to prove to herself that she could overcome challenges, but she was also determined not to let her background or Dr. Harold's disdainful words define her future. One study afternoon, as she gazed out the library window at the campus, Scarlett reflected on her journey so far. With Sarah by her side, she felt she could face any challenge that came her way. Scarlett's determination was stronger than ever, and she knew she had what it took to achieve her dreams, regardless of the adversities. With Sarah's constant support and the use of the new laptop, Scarlett began to recover from the initial difficulties. She was not only completing her assignments more efficiently, but also started innovative projects that incorporated concepts of technological accessibility, inspired by her own experience in Cedar Rapids. These initiatives did not go unnoticed. Professors from various disciplines began to praise her creativity and technical skill, seeing in her a potential that extended beyond the classrooms. In particular, Professor Jensen, a specialist in artificial intelligence, was impressed with one of Scarlett's projects aimed at developing more intuitive user interfaces for the elderly. He often encouraged her in front of the class, in stark contrast to Dr. Harold's skepticism. While most of her peers began to respect and admire Scarlett for her perseverance and skill, Dr. Harold continued to critique her work, often questioning the viability of her ideas in class discussions. "While it's a commendable attempt, Scarlett, I question whether this really has practical application in the real world," Dr. Harold would say, peering over his glasses with an air of disdain. These criticisms, though painful, only strengthened Scarlett's resolve. She spent sleepless nights perfecting her projects, determined to prove her ability not just to Dr. Harold, but to herself. In her penultimate year, Scarlett's talent and dedication caught the attention of Dr. Leonard, a renowned professor in the area of computer systems. Impressed with her work and ethic, he invited her to be a research assistant on his new project, which explored advanced algorithms for analyzing large-scale data. This position not only offered Scarlett an opportunity to delve deeper into her passion for technology, but also allowed her to start teaching first-year students. Remembering her own initial struggles, Scarlett made it a point to explain complex concepts in a clear and accessible manner, which quickly made her a popular figure among the students. "You really have a knack for teaching," said a first-year student after a class. "You make it seem so easy." These comments filled Scarlett with joy and satisfaction, knowing she was making a difference in the lives of other students, just as Sarah had done for her. Her classes became known for being engaging and informative, a reflection of her passion and dedication to the field. Alongside her academic responsibilities, Scarlett continued to face challenges and opposition. But now, with a support network that included influential professors and enthusiastic peers, each criticism from Dr. Harold was now seen not as a barrier, but as an incentive to keep improving and innovating. With every step forward, Scarlett solidified her place at the university, turning former skeptics into allies through her tireless work and persistence. Scarlett Davis's graduation was the culmination of years of hard work and overcoming obstacles. In the grand auditorium of the university, Scarlett stepped onto the stage, radiant in her graduation gown. With eyes sparkling with emotion and newfound confidence, she looked out over the sea of faces in the audience, meeting the proud gazes of her mother and sister, who had traveled from Cedar Rapids to see her on this special day. "My journey here was not easy," began Scarlett, her voice clear and strong echoing through the auditorium. "But each challenge I faced taught me about resilience and the power of perseverance." As she spoke, she recalled the sleepless nights, the discouraging criticisms, and how each obstacle seemed insurmountable at the time. However, every word of her speech not only celebrated her achievements, but also inspired others to believe in their own potential. After graduation, Scarlett decided to continue at the university that had so challenged her, becoming an influential professor, specializing in assistive technology. Scarlett's impact soon transcended the university's boundaries, gaining national attention. Her commitment to inclusive learning led her to be invited to a major education event in Washington, D.C. During the event, she presented how technology could be a powerful equalizer in education, especially for those with special needs. It was at this event that an unexpected encounter occurred. Dr. Harold, now older and distant from the memories of that stern professor, approached Scarlett after her presentation. Impressed with the impact of her speech, he offered to contribute a substantial donation to Scarlett's project, initially without recognizing her. When Scarlett's identity became clear, Dr. Harold's expression changed from uncomplicated admiration to a complex mix of surprise and remorse. "Scarlett, I honestly had no idea of everything you managed to achieve. I am very sorry for the difficulties I caused during your formative years," he said, with a sincerity Scarlett had never imagined seeing. With the elegance that had characterized her response to numerous challenges over the years, Scarlett accepted Dr. Harold's apology. "We are all learning, Dr. Harold. Your donation will help many students overcome adversities, just as I did." Using the generous donation, Scarlett significantly expanded her program, impacting the lives of countless students and inspiring a new generation of thinkers and creators. Scarlett Davis's story, filled with challenges turned into triumphs, became a powerful symbol of the human capacity to grow and turn adversities into opportunities for change and success. Her journey, though marked by moments of doubt and struggle, demonstrated that even in the most difficult situations, it is possible to find paths to redemption and extraordinary success.